Hello, hello, hello. This is Gayle Nicholson back once again for another episode of the Corona Spotlight 2020. Thank you so much for joining me today. Our guest today is an amazing business coach that will take your business from why to wow. And I love that about her. Please help me welcome today Kira Wagner, business coach with KiraWagner.com. Thanks so much for being with me today, Kira. How are you?
I am great, Gail. It's great to be here. Here it's sunny California. So, some people aren't so fortunate with the snow still, but we're doing good.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that. We're down here in Phoenix, so it's also sunny here. I'm wondering, if you've noticed, we've noticed the last couple of years that summer is coming about a month later for us in the low desert. You're in the high desert. How is the year shifting for you too?
No, I just like to think of spring and fall when they happen. Spring is, you remember the slinkies
Mm-hmm.
that kids would play with, and I think they still have them now. To me, spring and fall is like a slinky. It sort of goes up like this and then comes back down, and then the temperature goes up a little bit more and comes back down, and then it does that in reverse. And especially here in the desert, the high desert, our spring lasts typically about 2 weeks, and then our fall lasts about 2 weeks. So you go from cold to comfortable to hot
Mm-hmm.
for a long time, and then it reverses the process. So, yeah,
Nice, nice. Well, enjoy it while you can, this interim spring-ish weather for you. Um,
exactly.
So I am really, really excited about what we want to talk about today, and that is business coaching, taking your business from why to wow. So let me just begin. As a business owner, with everything that's going on, right?
Right.
What do you think are the top payoff points of this whole situation to keep in mind?
Without sounding like a broken record, Gail, because I know we hear it over and over and over again, um, the one of the first things that we have to do is just breathe. We have no clue what's going to happen next. I mean, on the one hand, the quarantine is going to be lifted on this date, and then it's extended, and then it's maybe not extended, and you keep bouncing, and you feel jerked around. I don't know if anybody else can relate to that, but that's kind of what
Yeah,
it's
I
like.
certainly can. Yeah. I keep
So,
planning something to launch after the quarantine is over, and as the days go on, it becomes a question of, is the quarantine ever going to be over? Right?
right. Yes, exactly. Those are the kinds of thoughts that go through our head. And so when I say that one of the first things you need to do is breathe, I know we hear that a lot, but I mean breathe with intention. Stop, relax, take a breath, and blow it out. Because most people go, well, I am breathing. I'm like, no, you're not.
Yeah, you're
No, you're
shallow
not.
breathing from about here.
Yes, yes, exactly. And so it's really breathing with intention, seeing what is, seeing what you want to have happen, and putting that all inside, connecting. So things that we need to really do is just make that intention and make that breath happen. The second thing is to use this time,
Mm-hmm.
take it to make advantage of what's going on with your business, relaxing and re-examining your business plan. And I know for a lot of women entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, that kind of small business, a lot of those folks are in business without a business plan.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got this time to actually make one. What is it that you want to have happen? What is your business going to look like in a year or 5 years? I don't care that this is all going on. This will change.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know what it's going to change to, but you have the power to choose what your business is going to look like. You make it happen here first before it can happen anywhere else. And the next thing is to meditate. Take some time. We've got plenty of time to meditate for extended periods. People talk about meditating for 20 minutes or an hour. Mm-hmm. Shut up. Quiet for a day. Find out what happens in your brain when you get beyond that 3, 5, 7-hour period. It's amazing when your brain and your body realizes that it doesn't matter, you're not going to talk. The brain starts to quiet down. And when that happens, you really start getting in touch with the things that are important to you, what your business is about, what your life is about, how all those things are connected with everything that's going on around you. Also, make plans for the future. You talked about that. Well, we don't know when, but we do know it's going to change. The world will open back up. It won't look exactly like it is, but make plans for the future. Without those plans, you can't move forward.
Agreed.
And you feel stuck. You know, if you've got nothing to look forward to, there's nothing to look forward to.
Right.
So give yourself permission to make plans. What are you going to do? Who are you going to call on? What's it going to look like? What kind of workshops are you going to hold? What kind of packages are you going to have in your business? Those are some key things to keep in mind to really take advantage of this time. Mm-hmm. There's not a lot that most people can do. There are some areas. Our area isn't as quarantined as most. And so you see people out. There's I'm an essential worker as a caregiver mm-hmm. with kids. So I get to go out. Then finally, the last point here mm-hmm. is trust. Is have some trust that you're in the right place. You're exactly where you need to be right now. Don't let it throw you off track. And I think that those are the key payoff points because we don't know a lot of the facts. And anybody that can tell you that, well, this is going to happen and this is going to happen is a fool. And we've seen that. It's been months now. So
yeah.
Just take it, Yeah. So those I think are the top payoff points for anybody that I've worked with right now.
Nice. Excellent. Okay. That's really great advice. Let me ask you a little bit more personally. What is it that you do throughout the course of the day to recenter yourself? I mean, I don't know how much you indulge in watching the news or anything like that, but there's so much that could be coming at us if we're allowing it. And so Absolutely. Much that can really frighten us that's out there. What do you do personally to stay centered?
One of the things is I love to go outdoors or look around. As you and I were discussing earlier, the 5 a.m. mowing the lawn outside your window, to connect with nature, to realize that we've been given a gift of time, that the world is seeming to heal in a myriad of ways. Just to stare at the leaves in the trees. This area, a high desert, I don't know why Chicago is called the Windy City, because the high desert's got them beat, hands down. And to watch the leaves, I can sit here from my office window and watch the leaves blowing in the trees and know that wind, figuratively speaking, has been around for thousands of years. It will continue to blow. It will continue to move the leaves and the grass. And I can be at peace knowing that those things are maybe not eternal, but really long lasting.
Nice. That's really nice. Yeah, reminding yourself of the ancientness of so many things that are surrounding us in the midst of all of this change. That's right. Awesome. That's awesome. Now, what would you recommend as things that other people could do right now to make themselves feel safer or better or more in control?
Sure. One of the things that we need to do, like you said, you've got the news and you've got all of these things, is watch for triggers. There may be a time of day that's not as comfortable for individuals, maybe in the afternoon. And it could be because that's their biorhythm. And so watch for these triggers, whether it's the time of day, whether it's negative people, or it's too much coronavirus news. Oh my gosh, folks.
If the virus doesn't make you sick, the news about it will.
Yeah. There's a reason that in movies like The Secret or those kinds of things, or in the Bible, where it's what you focus on expands. That's been around for thousands of years in different variations.
Right.
So if you're focusing and putting all of your energy on the virus, the illness, the pandemic, the negative aspects, it's just going to create more of the same inside of you. And then there's a butterfly effect, and it ripples out all around us. Right. Let go. You're not going to, unless you are on the cutting edge of science and research, you're not going to be the one to create the antibiotics or all of those things. So you can't make that happen faster or slower than it's going to happen. Let go of that. Understand what's going on. Make a plan. Now, I want to interject right here. If any of our listeners have been personally affected, and I have friends that, I have a really good friend who nearly died from the coronavirus. And I get it. It's scarier than shit. Excuse the vernacular, but we don't know. So you don't know how to fight it. You don't know what to do. If you've been personally affected by it, my prayers are with you. You have to know that. That's part of what I do every day, is spend some time just sending out prayers for the people that have been personally affected by it. But we've been through this before with the smallpox and polio and other horrific illnesses that have come upon us. And we lived through it. Not everybody will survive. Not everybody has. But make a plan and let go of all of that. So that, watching for those triggers. Another one is physical exercise and getting out and getting moving. And it just made me smile, and I want to thank you for sharing this, is because one of the tips is, obviously go out, take a walk, take a 10-minute walk. When anything starts to feel like you're just going, okay, what am I going to do? What do I need to do? Go for a walk. Get away from it for a minute. The other thing is to dance it off. And you shared a video, and if people haven't seen it, it was one of the funnest things that I've seen. You shared it from yesterday evening, I think, somebody else's video. They were doing a block dance party with social distancing, and everybody's just having fun, dancing, moving around. Half the people aren't paying attention to anybody else. They're just doing their own thing out there. And we need more of that individual freedom to just dance like nobody's watching, sing like nobody's listening, live your life, be who you are, bring that blessing, and watch what happens. So that's one of the things, and I so appreciated that video. So I want to thank you for sharing that.
You're very welcome. I loved that. We had one of the reasons why I shared that was because it reminded me of some of the things that are going on in my neighborhood. A couple of weeks ago, we had a caravan of teachers coming through all of the neighborhoods. And my daughter lives like 4 miles to the west of me, and she was Facebook living it, and she's like, "Mom, there's all these cars going down our street and honking, and they've got signs in the windows." And it was the teachers from the elementary school basically driving past all of their students' homes going, "We miss you. We really wish we could be with you," and waving out the windows and stuff. And I'm like, it's brilliant. The things that people are doing to connect when we can't touch, right?
Exactly.
That just, my skin, I get goosebumps right now. It's just like, this is beautiful. This is what people are doing to come together, even though, we're not allowed to breathe on each other right now.
Right. And that's so important. Social distancing is not emotional distancing.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that we have to remember. Yeah. I think that's really key.
You just brought up something I want to point to, and that was, somebody was talking to me the other day about the fact that she was out in her yard. She had her scarf up around her face, and she waved hello and shouted out to a neighbor across the street, and the neighbor looked at her like she didn't know if she should talk to her or not. And I think that for a lot of us, this whole paradigm of you're quarantined, you're in isolation, the connotation of it, not the denotation of it, but the connotation of it is, I'm being punished. I have to be all by myself. I can't talk to anybody. I can't have any fun. I can't look at anybody else. I am, don't look at me. Something's wrong, and I'm being punished. And I just want to remind people, no, that's not true. You're just not allowed to touch people right now. You're just not allowed to breathe on them. You can have all the fun you want to have from 6 feet away. Up in Canada, they're doing driveway beers. Literally, lawn chairs out at the end of the driveway, and they're drinking with their neighbors. I love it.
Exactly.
So please continue. I apologize for the interruption. I just get excited about what people are doing. The creativity is amazing.
And that's important to keep in mind, is how creative we are as individuals. That applies to your business.
Yes.
That applies to options. So that it continues right down that. Mm-hmm. And one of the other things to feel like you're in control or feel like you can kind of bring yourself into center is to talk to someone that you trust. And that means talk to them. Please don't rely on emails and texts, because it gets out of context, and then that creates more anxiety.
Yeah.
So call them up, talk to them, Facebook Live them, just FaceTime them, whatever you need to do to hear their voice. Mm-hmm. There's something reassuring in that sound. Yes. As a business owner, call your clients. I just want to know you're okay. I like to hear your voice. I want to check in.
Very nice.
Wow. What a release. Mm-hmm. When we can do that.
Yeah.
And how much does that mean if you're a client of somebody and they give you a phone call, they take that time, you're that important? Because we all know, if you're anything like me, my daughter really prefers texting.
Yeah.
Because her mom can go off into tangents, and I get that. so that you're giving a gift of something that is irreplaceable. Mm-hmm. I can make money. I can make more money. I can make more money, and I can make more money, but I can't make more time. Give that gift to your clients and watch what happens to your business when it comes out of this.
That's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Now, I wanted to ask you, I know you started out as a life coach. What made you jump tracks into women in business coaching? Was there a huge event?
Sure. I was a life coach for years. And this pivot, this overuse of the word pivot, I looked at that back in December, and the idea of sharing about the miracle that you are. I noticed how women seem to play smaller. And as a business coach, one of the things that I noticed was that women tend to accept crumbs. They do. Oh, you want to pay me 10 cents to the dollar? Okay, I got a job. That's great. I'm really thrilled. I have a client. For years, I noticed that women would give away their services. And I think part of it is a mom syndrome. As a mom, we're taught to nurture, and we want to give everything to our kids because we want them to be successful. Mm-hmm. So we just give it away. And I think that carries over as a business person, So I had been involved in MLMs for years. There are some awesome people. Mm-hmm. They are very knowledgeable in promoting businesses. And what I noticed, Cal Kids Learning Academy is down in Santa Clarita, and we do childcare right now. Mm-hmm. And so we're considered essential workers to be able to take care of the kids whose parents have to go out that are mailmen or nurses or that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So we deal with this childcare. There was a parent that came in who was really struggling with this identity issue and feeling like she had to let go of her career, that kind of thing. And I'm watching all of these women, and it finally hit me. No, my job, my why in this world, so that kind of transitions into the next point. My why is because sometimes there's only one person that's going to hear you. And it's really important to get your voice out there. And if duplication is all it's about, and I bring no originality to the business, then I'm missing part of who I am and why I'm here. And so that's really what I wanted to make sure that women are heard, women are seen, and women are successful in whatever arena they want to play in. And that's kind of what I'm looking at.
Awesome. I want to, if you don't mind, just kind of back up a little bit to the beginning of that point. In the mindset of women taking crumbs, in the paradigm that I grew up in. Okay, now mind you, I'm 51 years old. My mom ran a business from home, but she was legally blind. My dad, he had his business, but he was old. He was like on Social Security from as far back as I can remember. But the mentality was that at the time in the early 70s, right before all the bras started burning, was that as a wife, as a mother, your job was in the home. And if you did need to go outside of the job, first of all, it was a pride hit on the man, right? Because he wasn't providing enough for the whole family, right?
Right.
And there was also this mentality of, you've already got a man that's got you 80% of the way. You don't need a full salary. You just need a little extra to help the man top up what's needed, right? So it wasn't
Yeah.
even like we came into it going, we have a 100% human being here that is, showing up for this job and doing
Exactly.
the job that needs to be done. They should be getting 100% pay for the work that they're doing, regardless of what their genitalia is or their role in their home environment. And I think that it's a wonderful growth shift that we're making now to having, even a space where a job like you're doing is possible, because there are women that are going, no, I've got the skills, I've got the talent. All right, help me overcome this presumed programming that's got me willing to go, oh yeah, I'll do it for 10 cents on the dollar just to be needed.
Exactly. Exactly.
So,
Exactly. If you, here's just a fun little exercise. Think about the value of your time. Most of us don't. I know that up until a few years ago, I didn't really put the numbers together. And if you want to be making X amount and you want to be working X number of hours, do the math and figure out what your time is worth, and watch what happens with your energy and how you invest your time in the activities around you. I did this exercise. I will share. I'm not sure how we are on time.
We're fine.
So I did this exercise with a chorus that I directed a few years ago. I don't know if you've heard of Sweet Adelines or the Men's Barbershop Organization.
Yes, I have.
But I've directed both. The women and the men. Now, the men had no problem going out, and regardless of how well they were performing, that didn't even come into it. Okay. They had no problem saying, if we're going to perform for you for 15 minutes, it's $400 or it's $600 or it's whatever. It was just the number. You pay us or don't. We will be there or we won't. Not a big deal. However, the women, if you got $30 or $100 for a half hour set, they were thrilled. And I did the math one day and I said, okay, so you got a chorus of 25 women and you've spent 6 months, and that's on a short side, 6 months putting together a package of 10 songs. So each woman had to invest at least, let's just say 80 hours. Okay. And I can tell you right off the bat that it was a whole lot more than that in order to make this unit.
Yeah.
And we're pickier. We tend to be pickier than the average man about what we're going to accept out there. And when we did that, I said, you're asking for 2 cents per person for this performance, or a nickel per person. You're kidding, right? 2 cents an hour. Give me a break. We've got to get out of that. I need to just give it all away. Right. My time, my expertise, my experience. I had to laugh. I'm a little bit older than you. I'm 64. And my mother was also legally blind. So was my father.
Wow.
And my my mother got a job. At one point, she got a job as a radiology tech to take x-rays, because you don't, as long as you could see a little bit, you could push the buttons, and that's what you needed to be able to do. We moved, she went in for the job, and because she was legally blind and a female, they told her that it had changed. They didn't need her.
Yeah.
This was back in the 60s. And literally, we had moved our whole life to go for her to do this job. And then they said, thanks, but no thanks.
Wow.
And you know, we were just little kids, so there was not much recourse for that kind of situation. But all of those kind of play into why I'm so passionate about making this transition and helping women.
Yes.
So
now I wanted to ask you about that hashtag that you've got, Y to Wow. How did that happen? What's behind all that?
Well, first off, what I realized was that my why was always very soft. I want to help people. Well, you know what? I can do that 7 ways from Sunday, just like you can, just like anybody who's watching us. If you want to help or you want to be of service, there's a plethora of ways to do it. That's not a strong why. It permits us to have the BSO syndrome, which are squirrel syndrome. Oh, look, wait, that's a great idea. Oh, look, that business idea is really great. Oh, look, let's go over there and get distracted.
Right. BSO being bright, shiny object.
Bright, shiny object.
Yes. Oh, squirrel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Woo. Yeah. You know, this business looks really good. You know, that's really fun. And I've been in enough different business arenas. I'm a master Reiki practitioner, a life coach, a voice coach. There's a lot of things that I know how to do because I've done them for a while. But what was it that was what Kendall Summerhawk it refers to it as your fiery why. And that took me a long time to really connect with. What is it that just in your gut means that you must do this? Right. Whatever this is for you, you know. And for me, that fiery why was when I come to the end of my journey, whatever that end looks like, to know that in those last moments with God, creator, the universe, however you want to view that picture, that I've done everything possible to help, to be of service, and to bring the best of my light to the world. And anything less than that literally makes the thought of not being able to do that makes me feel sick. It just really is just in my gut kind of thing. And so I really believe that having your why in whatever your business is critical, because that's what's going to help you keep moving forward to that goal. And then to take that starting tinder flint spark and just explode it into this, wow, look where you are now. Look what you've accomplished. Look whose lives you've touched. Look how many people you've reached. That's what I envision for every business owner that I have the opportunity, whose lives I can touch. And that's what I want for them.
That's phenomenal. I love it. Very moving. Very moving. And yeah, as you were talking about that as well, I'm looking inside on what I'm developing um, for my next show after the quarantine is over,
Uh-huh.
and you're very right about the difference between your why and your fiery why, right? So I was my background is in recovering from PTSD. I had very early on a lot of trauma, and so early on I started finding what I could use to recover from that,
Right.
and that's a wonderful thing. Um, and so I've always been like, okay, so I want to be the person on the other end of this who looks back and goes, it's okay. I made it through. I know the path. I can help you, right? But that's different than what I spoke to somebody else this morning and I went, Me Too should never be a claim of victimization.
Right.
Me Too should only be a claim of empowerment. And when
Exactly.
that Me Too movement came through, I had to separate myself from Facebook and stuff because it's like, wait a minute, honey. Once you deal with this stuff, once you do this work, it's gonna be different. But everybody was like just connecting in the wallowing of the victimization, and it was like,
Right. And
this
that's
is
not what
not,
it's about.
no, this is
No.
not good. This is not good. So yeah, there's a huge difference between the why. Okay, everything in my life has trained me that this is my realm, right? And the, oh hell no, this ain't gonna happen no more. I'm gonna put a stop to this, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
We get to choose our responses. It doesn't matter what the event is. This pandemic is a good case of this.
Mm-hmm.
So here's this event, and our responses are going to dictate how we come through this.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to recognize that we're all different. It's okay to go, I'm done for the day.
Mm-hmm.
I can't deal with anymore. I can't, I'm going to take some time off.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
But acknowledge the fact that the outcome was a result of my choice.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Now, before we get to final thoughts, I do want to point out that Kira is offering a free webinar that's coming up. And in order to get access to that webinar, you're going to have to reach out to Kira directly on either Facebook or what was the other one?
LinkedIn.
On LinkedIn. And those links will be in the announcement when I send this out again. It was in the original ones, but you didn't know from all that you needed to actually pay attention to those. But yeah, reach out to Kira to get the link. This webinar sounds absolutely stunning. Tell us a little bit about it. The name of it is 3 Secrets to Achieve Success with Your USP. Okay, so what is it?
Well, again, this kind of goes back to your why. Your USP is something that I came up with. Now, I don't know if it's original, but I've never heard it before, is your unique soul position. Mm-hmm. Right? We've heard about your unique selling position, but it's from who you are, getting inside of your why, of those things that drive you, and connecting that with 3 very key points that I'll bring up. No, I'm not going to tell you right now, but I'll bring up during the webinar that can really make a huge difference when you know what they are. They can make a huge difference in your business. We touched lightly earlier on them today, but I think that, we're going to spend 30 minutes. It's not going to be huge. I'm not asking for you to invest, forever. It will be on, you'll have access to the link if you've reached out to me for after the fact. So you don't have to, if you're not available at the time, that's okay. But you still have to reach out to me and in order to have access to the link. Because no, that one's not going up on my YouTube channel.
Okay. Gotcha. And I do invite you, though, as well, if you choose to. You don't have to, but you can put that link in the comments on the video once it's posted back out to Facebook and that. So it will make it available to whoever would like to be part of it. That's awesome.
Right.
Okay, great. And then final thoughts. What final thoughts do you have for our audience today?
I just first off, I want to say thank you. Oh my gosh, I really enjoyed this, and I've enjoyed getting to know you better. I think that's one of the beauties of doing events like this is getting to know another person. Our paths are similar,
yes,
but the people that that our voices will be heard best by are different.
Yes.
And that's the beauty of it, that we can share information, we can talk, and a lot of business owners would probably be well to recognize that there's more compliments in the world than there is competition.
Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And so taking that, just really be present in the now. Journal, take a look at your thoughts. What are you letting trigger you? And enjoy the business that you have, that you've developed. Take a look at ways that it can grow, or be okay with not doing anything right now. Because that's how some of us deal with grief. And there's plenty of that going around right now in all of this. Yeah. There's uncertainty, all of those kinds of things. You have to be okay with wherever you are. If you fight it, all you're going to do is block yourself. One last tip: schedule. If you feel like you need to accomplish something, set aside 15, 20, 25 minutes. Work for that 25 minutes and walk away. Give yourself a break. 10 minutes, an hour, whatever. Come back to it. But do it in chunks instead of sitting down. As my husband says, how do you eat an elephant? For elephant lovers, I'm sorry. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
So,
excellent thoughts. Thank you so much for being with me today, Kira. It has been quite a pleasure for myself as well. I've really enjoyed learning from you and spending this time in conversation with you. So thank you for being with us, and thank you for what you are contributing to the world during this chaos and confusion.
Thank you, Gayle. I really appreciate the time and getting to know you better too.
Thanks. All right, Facebook, have a wonderful, wonderful Thursday. We'll see you again soon. When you open your energy, work makes that recovery progress so much faster. That recovery is possible. You do not have to live as a victim until your last days. You have unbelievable strength, and I know that because you're still here. Do you want to create something completely unrecognizable with your life? I can show you how.